Right, these are my quiches, my tarts. Here's a flan quiche for 20%. Pears and raspberries. Another pears and raspberries. This crumbles. Chocolate cherries. Mixed berries tarts. Oh man, it's piping hot. Apple tarts. Oh. Another apple tarts. So now quiches, mushrooms. Goat cheese quiches. Courgette quiches. Salmon and broccoli quiches. Lorraine, quiche Lorraine. Now, the flan. Another flan. But I'm going to put my pears and raspberry back into the oven for another few minutes because I want them to caramelize, cook a little bit more. That's it, only these two. Minutes. Right. So while this is baking for 10 more minutes, I'm gonna do a quick focaccia recipe. Let's squeeze it in. I don't have much time, but let's do it. I'm gonna do a quick focaccia with flour and bread flour and a little bit of cornstarch and I'm gonna add pesto, green pestos in my dough to try to get some flavor, color as well. And there would be a little bit salt, a little bit baker's yeast because I'm gonna do just a small batch, and I'm gonna add a little bit of my sourdough for the baguette, for the white bread, to help my yeast to boost my fermentation, and a little bit of this thick honey just to give it some boost. Have a quick fermentation. So watch me. Right, start my scale. So there, that's it, 0. I'm gonna have 1 kilo of flour, about 1 kilo of white flour, a little bit more, that's okay, and about half of that with cornstarch. About 4 or 500 grams of cornstarch. I think 400 should be all right. 400 grams of cornstarch. That's it, done. Pinch of salt. Pinch of salt. Don't have to be specific, but this is just a small batch. So 1 kilo of white flour and 400 grams of cornstarch, and just a little pinch of salt, because I'm gonna add salt on topping, and there is a little bit of salt in this pesto, so I don't need to put too much salt. Salt down, and so a little bit of baker's yeast, fresh yeast. I'm gonna say, let's say 6 grams, it's fine. And a little bit of, I need a little bit of a boost, sugary boost, my fermentation to kickstart. So just a little bit, about a teaspoon of honey, 10 grams, that's fine. And that's a little bit of sourdough, just to help my fermentation speed up. Just a little bit, not too much. Let's see in gram what would this adds up to. About 120, let's say 120 grams of sourdough starter. Then 0. Wipe my hands. This pesto is going to go into the flour. 190 grams of pesto. I'm going to add a little bit more pesto because I need it. I want more color. So, but at home you can try with 1 pesto for 160 grams of flour total. 1 kilo and 40 grams of flour in total. You can have 1 pesto, but if you want more color, you could suit yourself, add a little bit more pesto. So I'm gonna add the second pesto as well. So this is gonna be colorful, and it's gonna have a lot of taste, a lot of flavor. If I need, I might add a little bit more flour just to strengthen my dough, because I don't want the dough to be overpowered by the pesto. But I want enough pesto in it because I want flavor in this focaccia. Clean up my spoon. Put away the honey. Okay, since it's a live recipe, so I don't have specific quantity of water. So I'm gonna add the water as it's mixing. And bring the camera here. Now here's my mixer. Okay, it's my flour. Gonna go into the mixer. Water, I'm gonna adjust the water as it's mixing. Start. This is the live way of mixing, where you're developing a new recipe and you're not quite sure how much water to put in yet, so you add as you go. Basically, I'm doing 4 minutes in low speed and 4 minutes in fast speed. So right now we have 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left. Then it's gonna go to the 4 minutes fast cycle. So you can see my focaccia, my mixing is starting to take the greenish color of the pesto. So this dough is gonna be very soft dough. So I'm not gonna put too much water. Because I'm gonna add a little bit more oil after this cycle is finished. I'm gonna add a little bit olive oil in it and then spin it, mix it a little bit more before I set it to proof. So you see I got a little bit of green color here. You can smell the pesto, all the flavor in the pesto. Very enriching dough it's gonna be. A pastry like that, this kind of focaccia, you can just eat it as it is, or you could add your filling, could be bacon or anything you like, cheese or anything. But because pesto is very flavorsome, so you can just eat it as once it's baked, right? So I got a little bit sourdough started in, and a little bit yeast to help boost my fermentation. Because this is a live mix, I'm gonna mix it. I'm gonna bake it in about 4 hours time. When it's proof, it's gonna proof for like 1 hour, and I'll fold it, and then I'll shape it, and I'll bake it roughly in 3 hours time. So that's it. My dough basically is formed. Not too wet, not too strong. At this point, I can add a little bit more oil later because the dough is not too hydrated, just ideal consistency I need in order to add my olive oil in the dough and mix it again to actually combine more olive flavor into the olive that's already that was already in my green pesto. This pesto is flavorsome, it's got lots of olives in it. And then right now I'm gonna take out my quiches, which are ready. So the idea of putting pesto in your dough is to get more flavor. You could put red pesto, you could put green pesto, you could just crush dry tomatoes and mix it, crush it, blend it, and then put it in your dough and mix, and you get whatever color you get. If you use a red pesto, you're gonna get reddish dough in color, and if you use a green one, obviously you're gonna get more, like I'm doing. So imagine 1 kilo and 600 grams of flour altogether. 1 kilo of white flour and 600 grams of cornstarch. The cornstarch is just to help give me more gluten structures. The they give me that elasticity you would expect in a Italian focaccia. So yeah, for 100 kilo, 1 kilo and 600 and 400 gram of flour. So I use 2 pesto of 190 gram each. So two bottles. So you can see that color I get reflects the 2 bottle of pesto of 190 gram. So if I went ahead and I put 1 bottle, it would be less green than that, because I had tried this. I tested this before with this batch. I tested it before with 1 bottle of pesto. It didn't come out that green. It came out slightly green, but not that deep. But I wanted a little bit more deeper green color, right? So I put 2 pesto this time. But if your pesto is spicy, if you're adding something in a dough like this to get color, make sure it's not too spicy. Because, for example, if it's chili kind of tomato that you want to put in a dough to mix, you have to know that chili can actually conflict with the activity of the yeast, so it can affect how the proofing is going to be, because chili can go against the yeast and you might not get a good fermentation. So make sure whatever you're putting in your dough to get a color like that, a sauce base, make sure it's not too spicy in terms of a chili. If it's, other spices are fine. I think garlic as well can affect the fermentation. So make sure you don't put something too hot in the dough, because chili being hot can go against the yeast and the sourdough to affect. It can actually antagonize their proofing activity, proofing power. So green pesto, like I put in there, it's not chili in it. This is just maybe a little bit spices, but some of the spices, basil. So it's a green pesto with basil, you know, a little bit olive, a little bit everything. But as far as I'm concerned, not too much. A little bit salt here already in. That's why I didn't put too much salt, because I know it would be slightly salty. I can taste it. Yeah, it's already salty. So when you keep in mind, salt is a big enemy, because not enemy in the sense, it can be negative. Salt can be very, technical. So be careful with salt because when you put too much salt, you can't take it back. So always start a little bit and then adjust. If you need more, add more. Salt needs to be taken carefully. Handle salt carefully. So right now my dough's strong. I'm gonna add a little bit of flour to give more strength, because when I add my oil, it's gonna be more liquidy. So I don't want it too liquidy. Just a handful of flour, strengthen the dough a little bit. Then after this cycle is finished, I'm gonna add my olive oil to blend more, mix more, to give it that hydration I need. So 4 minutes first. 4 minutes in slow speed, another 4 minutes in high speed. Then after the cycle is finished, I'm gonna reset it, add my olive oil. I think about 100 gram, 150 gram of olive oil should do. Meanwhile, I just go get my olive oil. All right, my cycle's finished. Now I'm gonna add my olive oil. I'm gonna use this bottle, my pesto's bottle, fill it with the oil. So it's about 100. Well, if I fill it full, I get roughly the same quantity, 190 gram. So 150, something like that, of olive oil. But let me show you the texture of this dough right now, so you get an idea when you're doing it at home. It's quite soft. It's relatively soft, not too See the pesto, the basil color, the filling inside my pesto now in the dough. So I get a little bit greenish olive looking like color dough. So now this olive oil is going to go in. I'm going to see if I can put all, or maybe I'll leave some. I think it's okay to put all. 190 grams of olive oil. Right. Now here we go. Another 4 minutes slow speed and 4 minutes fast speed. 4 minutes slow speed. Let's go. So this olive oil is gonna blend. It's gonna homogenize with the dough. So I'm gonna end up with more hydration and more olive flavor. It's gonna be a very rich, flavorsome dough. That after baking, you don't really need to add any more things on it. You can just make a sandwich with it, cut in the middle, put layer of whatever you want, fish, meat, salmon, whatever. Or just classically, if you just want to enjoy the basil flavor, you can just eat it as it is. Because after I baked it, I'm gonna paintbrush it with more olive oil, so the top, the crown is gonna be more soft, more olive flavor. And I'm gonna do my topping on it. I could put some cherry tomatoes on it, maybe some olives, some mixed cherry tomatoes, different colors, green, yellow, red, mixed with olive, black olive, green olive, depends on whatever I got in the kitchen. So here you go. But it's a dough. It's just a focaccia dough, and you can play with it. You can put whatever you want for topping before baking, right? So first you shape it, and you put your topping. Could be cherry tomatoes with olive, or with garlic. If you like garlic, you put garlic on top. And or if you don't like to put, or you could just bake it as it is, and put some bits of pistachio on top, right? Why not? Because pistachio is green, help correspond with the color of the dough, and you get something interesting. So you could play with it. You could put any topping you like, because once it's mixed, it's up to you. But for me, I'm thinking about color right now for topping, because I got a dough that's a bit green, so I might wanna put some black olives on it to have contrast with the color, the green, the olive color. So I could put maybe some red cherry tomatoes with some yellow mixture of yellow and red cherry tomatoes with some olives to give more color, because I like color. So I think food is art, so you could play with it. You could put anything you want, any other topping that comes into your mind, you can experiment with. Right? So, about to finish the first cycle on slow, 4 minutes of slow speed. After that, you're gonna go on fast speed, 4 more minutes. So right now, I'm mixing, because this kind of dough are good to mix long, because you want to build more gluten network. So the reason why you blend for a long time, because you want to build more network, more gluten structure. The more the machine spins, the more it blends, the more glutens are being formed, and the more strength the dough will gain. Because remember, my hydration was quite a lot with the olive oil and all the pestos, which kind of had liquid in it, so more hydration. So the more mixing, the more I can regain in strength with the dough. Then I'll let it proof for 1 hour. After 1 hour, I'll fold it, give more strength to it, then I'll shape it, then I will decide on the topping. Could be cherry tomatoes, olives, whatever. Then I'll bake this kind of dough. You want to bake it, focaccia, you want to bake it for about 15 to 17 minutes. You don't want to over bake it. When we bake bread, typically we bake for like 20 minutes, 20 to 20 something minutes. So with focaccia, it's a soft bread, so you want to bake it not too long. Bake it for about 15 minutes with a small batch, 15 minutes, then check if you need more time, and then add more 3 minutes. Do it 17 minutes maximum. You don't want to go in the area of about 20 minutes, because the more you bake, the more it will caramelize on top, and the more you lose that greenish color. The more caramelize on the top, the more you lose that color you want. So I guess I'm gonna bake it for about 17 minutes maximum, for about 250 degrees or 250-ish degrees Celsius. Then after it's baked, I'm not gonna open the oven to let the condensation come out. I'm just gonna take it out straight and let it cool. Right? It's cooling. Unlike you do a bread, with a bread, when you bake a bread, after 20 minutes has elapsed, you have to open the windows of the oven to open the flap to actually let the hot air come out to help start pre-dry your baked goods. But with focaccia, I just do 17 minutes straight in the oven. When it comes out, when it comes off, just take it out straight. Just put it out to cool naturally. Because it's not like bread where you want to dry it too much. Right? You want it to retain some of the hydration. Right? Unlike a bread. Typical bread like sourdough breads or French baguettes or whatever. So this is a quite high hydration. Soft. You can see, quite elastic, quite hydrated. That's what I want. Alright. 1 more minute to go. Now I'll prepare my receiving pan. I'll leave olive oil in it. So once that mixture is done, I'm gonna put it here and leave it in my production's ambient temperature to proof for 1 hour. 1 hour straight. Then I will fold it. Then I shape it and wait another maybe half an hour before I bake. Because I'm gonna wait until I start seeing more fermentation, more bubbles start to build before I proceed to the baking. But right now, first thing first, basically mix your dough and then add your filling for the flavor and color. Could be pesto, green or red pesto. Could be any other things you might have. Could be tomato puree, but add a little bit of flavor. If you just want to use a plain tomato puree, add a little bit of mixed herbs in it to try to give more flavor, right? Or something with basil in it, or anything you like, any flavor you like. So the idea is to get a dough that is already flavored, that has herbs in it and spice, right? It's very rich though, because it's got spice in it, it's got color, it's got basil, it's got a whole bunch of things in it. Right, got the hydration. It's very hydrated, but strong. Because there's spice in it. If you're gonna mix something after that, you have to clean the machine thoroughly to get rid of all the basil and the spice taste in it. Because you don't want to contaminate your next batch of mixing. For example, I mixed my bread earlier. See, all my breads are here. So that's why I made sure I mix all this bread before I mix this at last because this has spice in it. I don't want no contamination in my other bread. As with everything, you have to clean up the machine, the mixer properly before you mix the next product, especially anything with that doesn't need flavor or anything. See, I'm folding right now, trying to create that build more gluten and shape it smooth, create a nice round shape, and turn it, flip it around. The smooth sides, put it on top, the ugly side at the bottom, and then you could cover it because you don't want the top to form a skin. So I just get an island like this, right? Put on top, right?